Okay, my beer bros, you may ask, why are we here? Why are we off the playoff tree setup menu with all classic teams? No, this is not a simulation of all the classic teams. If it was, that would be awesome to see the 90 Bulls versus the 88 Bulls. But anyway, I digress. This is going to be my official predictions for the 2019-2020 NBA season, including all playoff contenders, and I'm going to try to go into big enough of a description as well to explain why I'm picking them to go finish where they are. I'm not going to say the specific record because that's kind of just the gist of hey, who's first, second, and I'm going to try my best to predict the playoffs as well, considering the preseason just started the other day. We're still a decent amount of time away from actually knowing who's going to contend. But we're gonna start with the eighth. We're gonna start with the first seed and go down in the West, and then the first seed go down in the East. Now, a lot of people have been saying the top two contenders for the West would be probably the Lakers and the Clippers and blah 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 stuff like that. I don't see those two being the top dog in the West. I don't. Um, One reason why with the Clippers, I should say, with the Clippers is Paul George being out early on in the season. I love Beverly, Montrezl Harris, Kawhi Leonard. I love those, but without Paul George for at least the first month, I feel like they might fall a little bit too far behind to win it. So obviously, I'm going to pick the Kings, which is a complete joke. Sorry, I apologize. Mavericks are a contender, but I wouldn't say they're the number one seed. I would say my favorites for the absolute top dog number one seed are the Rockets, the Nuggets, and the team I'm actually picking in the Utah Jazz. Now, is it bold picking the Utah Jazz? Absolutely, it's bold picking the Utah Jazz to be the number one seed. They've been fourth, fifth seed around there most of the time for the last couple of years. I think Donovan Mitchell takes the next step this year. Mike Conley being added to the roster over Ricky Rubio provides another dynamic playmaker on the offense, and he can defend quite well as well. They've also made some nice additions at power forward, and Rudy Gobert, always Defensive Player of the Year candidate. Nothing wrong with that. They are one of those rare teams that has the size to compete with LA, both LAs. And overall, I like them better. I like their guards a little bit better. Now, number two, numero dos. Who would I pick to be the number two seed? Well, there's a lot of options here. There is the Lakers, obviously, the Clippers as well, the Rockets, and honestly, I'm going with the Rockets. Now, is that a slight against the no, that's not even the second seed. What the hell am I doing? Is that a slight against the Lakers or Clippers? No. Like I said with the Clippers before, Paul George injury, James Harden will get wins. He will get 50 points a game. His issue more so is performing in the playoffs, so I think they'll get the second seed. And the issue with the Lakers not getting the second seed, I think, will be more so just resting the superstars. Anthony Davis has a building injury history, I should say, and you always want to keep LeBron James healthy for the stretch run. And that brings us up to the three seed. Also, I actually think a lot of people are saying who's gonna shoot the ball more with those two. I think Russell Westbrook will have no problem passing James Harden a lot and getting 15 and 20 assists a game. He might set a NBA record for assists a game with James Harden. Who knows? James Harden does like the ISO. Number three, this is when I start to go with some of the more popular picks for the top seeds. Number three, I'm going to absolutely have to go with the LA Clippers. Now, one reason why I want to go with the Clippers is because Kawhi Leonard is one of the best two-way players in the NBA right now. Absolutely, right next to Anthony Davis. LeBron James would be up there if he consistently played defense. Kawhi Leonard's injury history is a concern, especially with Paul George having surgeries on both shoulders. I love Patrick Beverly here. I love Montrezl Harrell. I think they provide enough depth. If LeBron James plays the one with the Lakers, if they face off against the Clippers in the playoffs, I definitely think Paul George could handle potentially double teaming Anthony Davis with Montrezl Harrell a little bit and playing maybe a double team switch on the LA center, because I don't think Dwight Howard is too intimidating, honestly, but he will get boards. I think Dwight Howard's the center for the Lakers. If I'm wrong, I supremely apologize. And at number 4, who do we have at number 4? We should go this way because it's a lot quicker. At number 4 in the West, we have the LA Lakers. Now, I did say I can't find them. Oh, that's because I have them up here. At number 4, we have the LA Lakers. Like I said, they might want to rest, but if I know LeBron James, he's going to want at least one home series. And I think that starts in the first round. Honestly, I think they could probably have 50 wins and still be the 4th seed. I love Anthony Davis. Actually, the combo of Anthony Davis, LeBron James is, I think, a lot better than a lot of people give it credit for. And you have one of the best, probably 6-man of the year players in Kyle Kuzma, who just keeps getting better. It's a really good roster. Frank Vogel, I believe, should be a good coach for them as well. And honestly, do you really want to vote for LeBron James? I don't know how often you're going to get a Lakers team like last year, and that was with LeBron James missing a lot of games. Now, a lot of people might expect, oh, do you have the Warriors as the 5th seed? No, I do not have the Warriors as the 5th seed. I have the Portland Trailblazers as one of the best 5th seeds in NBA history. Now, I mean that wholeheartedly. Hassan Whiteside, Jusuf Nurkic, Damian Lillard, CJ McCollum. This team is absolutely stacked. But so are the other 4 teams above them. This could be a situation like last season where for most of the season you literally had like the 3rd seed through the 6th seed all with like 33 wins and like 18 losses or something like that, whatever it was, and have them be within a game of each other. This could very well play out like that. And honestly, I think Trailblazers don't mind playing on the road, and they'll be tough. The toughest part is going to be, I would say, Hassan Whiteside adjusting to the team. I don't think it will be a big issue. They're also one of the teams that have a really good size challenge against like a team with the Lakers, because you can put Hassan on Anthony Davis. Not saying he'd play well. You can put Nurkic on LeBron, even though that would not go well. Oh, and you have some of the best. You have the best one of the best 1-2 guard combos in the league, and the Trailblazers. And like I said, not a knock against the Trailblazers. I personally think like 3, even like 2 to 6, will probably be only 2 to 3 games apart, which is absolutely crazy. But that's how I see it happening, to be honest. Candidates for the 6th seed would be, probably the top candidates would be the Warriors, the Timberwolves, maybe. The Suns are a contender as well. But I don't have any of those guys making it. I obviously have the Nuggets. Another team, like I said, where like 2 to 6, 3 to 6. I think 3 to 7, honestly, probably going to be separated by 2 or 3 games. These are all great teams. You cannot really go wrong here. The Nuggets are incredible. With me though, I'm not knocking the Nuggets. They are an incredible young team. It's just the one thing for me is who's going to take that shot down by 1 at the end of the game. They have a lot of options. And do I trust them? Yeah, I trust the Nuggets. Obviously, they had a lot of success last year. But I think more often than not, they're going to find themselves in a situation where one guy has to rise above, and they don't have that absolute dominant superstar on that team, which I'm not criticizing them for necessarily. I just think they would benefit from that. Jokic is amazing. He is. Jamal Murray is amazing. Gary Harris, I believe his name is. He's actually pretty good too. And I still think the Nuggets could have over 50 wins and still end up in the 6th seed. So that leaves us with the 7th seed, and you notice the Warriors still aren't off the board yet. Do I actually have the Warriors missing the playoffs? Do I? That's a good question, if I think about it, because the last 2 spots boil down for me 3 teams. You have the Pelicans, you have the Mavericks, and you have the Warriors. And for the 7th seed, I'm going with I'm going with the Pelicans. I'm going with the New Orleans Pelicans for the 7th seed. I like this team. I think they're going to, because one thing I noticed with all playoffs, and not necessarily just the West or the East or wherever you're talking about what sport you're playing, there's usually one team that surprises you. One team that surprises you. I think the Pelicans will be that. I'm not saying Zion's going to be the ultra superstar or Lonzo Ball is going to be amazing, shoot amazing, everything like that. But you have one of the best defensive guards in the league in Drew Holiday who can shut down almost anybody. You have Zion Williamson, who's an actual incredible player. I believe you have Julius Randle as well. That 1-2 combo right there is good. Lonzo Ball and Drew Holiday also provide that punch. And then you have Brandon Ingram. You have a lot of size. You have a lot of muscle. You have a lot of grit on that team. I think they'll surprise some people. I think they'll finish in the 7th seed. Now, with that said, for the 8th seed, you may think I have the Dallas Mavericks with the 1-2 punch of Kristaps Porzingis and Luka Doncic, but no. For the 8th seed, I actually have the Golden State Warriors making it. I think D'Angelo Russell, Draymond Green, and Steph Curry will definitely be enough to get the Warriors into the playoffs, and this could very well be a situation where the 8th seed in the West has 47 wins. And do I think the Warriors could get 47 wins? It's gonna. The biggest question for me is, will Klay Thompson make it back at all? Especially if they make the playoffs, will Klay Thompson be available? So that's who I have for the West currently. And honestly, I kind of like that bracket. I'll get into it in a second. In the East, it's a very different story for the number 1 team. I'm not gonna go really against what happened last year. And I'm going to go with the Milwaukee Bucks. Obviously, Giannis, Brook Lopez, and that team are absolutely incredible. Reigning MVP. In the East, I don't see too much competition for the number 1 seed. I see maybe 2-3 teams that could upset them. And it's really going to depend on injuries. If the Bucks stay 100% healthy, it's going to be so hard to beat them. And at the number 2 spot, probably the team with the best bet to beat the Bucks would have to be the 76ers. Now, yeah, right here. With Embiid, Ben Simmons needs to step up his goddamn shooting. If Ben Simmons can't step up his shooting, the 76ers are going to struggle fucking massively, and it's going to be absolutely fucking terrible. Embiid is incredible if he can stay healthy, but I think the biggest difference maker here and what lifts the 76ers into probably the top 2 teams in the East is the addition of Al Horford, one of the most underrated centers in the league. Now, a lot of people say with the addition of Al Horford, you can get Joel Embiid off the court more, get him more rest, and I do agree with that to a point, but I also think this is a rotation to where you can play Al Horford at the 4 and Embiid at the 5 and benefit tremendously, especially with how well Al Horford can move the ball. Pair him with Ben Simmons, get Al Horford on the arc with Ben Simmons driving in, do some pick and roll stuff like that. It can be extremely lethal, especially when you have Joel Embiid also on the court at the same time. And at the number 3 seed, we have a team probably not many would necessarily pick as the 3 seed in the East, considering what's going on with everything in the East, but I'm going to actually have to go with the Boston Celtics. Now, I know it seems odd. Oh, why are you picking the Boston Celtics? They don't have any big men. Enes Kanter is very defensively deficient when it comes to standard NBA centers, especially he's not really that big. Taco Fall is not very mobile, so I don't think he's going to provide enough punch there as well. I like the guard tandem in Jaylen Brown and Kemba Walker with Marcus Smart coming off the bench. I think that's absolutely incredible. Jason Tatum, I think, should take another step up without Kyrie Irving and the kind of ball hog attitude he had leaving last year, I should say. At the beginning, they worked so well together. Then at the end, it just fell apart. Another player I'm looking for the Celtics to really step up is Daniel Tice. If he can step up, play well. Williams as well, if he can step up and provide that boost at the 4 and the 5 position. Time Lord, for those of you who may be Celtics fans, I think that will provide them enough of a spark to nab the 3 seed. Now, in all honesty, the 3 seed in the East will probably have an equivalent record to probably the 7th seed in the West. 6th seed in the West, something like that. It's not really that good. In the 4th seed, I'm getting more bold in the East. I am going to predict teams probably nobody has here. Now, a popular pick for the East would probably have to be the damn Nets at 4, but I'm not picking the Nets at 4. I'm picking a team nobody in their right mind has at 4. I'm picking the Atlanta Hawks at 4. I think Trae Young's going to take the next step up. I love John Collins here as well. I love the additions they made in free agency and the draft. I think they're going to be, I think his name was Hachimura. I'm pretty sure I'm pronouncing his name wrong, but I think they're going to be a really good team. I think they're going to be able to upset some teams. And I think they're going to grab a home court advantage in the first round of the playoffs. Is that very bold to say? Yes. But I think they'll remain relatively healthy, and I think it will very seriously benefit them. For number 5, I am picking the Brooklyn Nets. With Kyrie Irving, his injury history does bring up some concern. No KD most likely for the year. But with that being said, I don't think it would be too much of an issue. If you have Kyrie Irving, Spencer Dinwiddie, and Chris LeVert healthy most of the season, you're going to have one of the best three-punch tandems at guard in the league. Not to mention, Allen is an up-and-coming center, still improving. You got DeAndre Jordan as well, one of the best rebounders in the game. Even as old as he is now, still good. Now for the 6th seed, there's 5 or 6 teams probably in the East that could realistically win this. You have teams like the Raptors who lost Kawhi Leonard. You have the Pistons with Blake Griffin, the Pacers who don't know what to get when Victor Oladipo is coming back. The Magic are a potential candidate, but I'm actually gonna go with not the Knicks or the Heat or the Hornets. Who do I go with? I'm going with the I'm going with the Orlando Magic. Finally healthy, played pretty well in the first round, at least initially in the first game. Vucevic didn't play well in the first round, but I think they can get the 6th seed. There isn't much else to say. The 6th seed and below probably missed the playoffs if they were in the West. Not really great teams out here. Number 7 seed, I am picking the obvious contender that always disappoints, the Pistons. Wait, no. It's between the Raptors and the Pistons. Like, I might flop right now. I've been thinking about this for a while. I might flop. The Raptors are a decent team, but I'm going to go Pistons. I don't really have any good reasons. Just something tells me the Pistons are going to make the playoffs like they did last year. They're going to disappoint in the playoffs like they did last year. And I love seeing Drummond versus Embiid. I really do. And of course, you got to pick up another upset. Number 8 seed in the East. Knicks, the New York Knicks, the team that missed out on Kyrie Irving and KD. They picked up a lot of veterans who I think provide excellent leadership. I think their young players will step up a little bit as well this year. And I think, honestly, Fizdale is one of the better young coaches in the league. I think he will provide good leadership. I think they'll play a lot better. This team probably realistically finishes 43-39, maybe 42-40, and steals the 8th seed. Now, you may see I have all teams controlled. Now we get into the playoffs. If this were to happen, what teams would make it here? If the Utah Jazz face the Golden State Warriors, I 100% believe the Utah Jazz would beat the Warriors, giving Steph Curry his first round exit in a long time. So we're going to force the win here for the Jazz. Anyway. Well, for this one, I love the Lakers, and I love Damian Lillard, and I don't love the Lakers. I like what they have. I like Anthony Davis. I have liked Anthony Davis for a while. Didn't necessarily want him on the Celtics because of what we would have to give up, but still I understand the business of the NBA. For this one, I would have to probably pick the Lakers to win this one. I think this would be a 7-game series. I think it would be really close, so we're going to force the Lakers to win. Then the Clippers versus the Denver Nuggets. I think the Clippers, fully healthy, win game 1 and win the series in 6. Houston, New Orleans, I think behind James Harden, Houston wins this one in 5. Better shooting overall, I think, will be the answer. But the option of Drew Holiday and Lonzo against Russell and James Harden sounds absolutely awesome. This one would be a 4-game sweep by Milwaukee. This one probably be Brooklyn in 6. To be honest, then you got Boston, Orlando. I'd have to pick Boston in 6 as well. Philadelphia, Detroit. I would have to pick Detroit. I'd have to pick Philadelphia in probably 5. So we're going to force win for the 76ers. And I'll see you guys in the next round. Well, we had a little error setting up the simulation in the first round. So, it had the Pistons beating the 76ers in 7. So just picture the Pistons being the 76ers. And it basically happened like I said it would, even in simulation mode. So the final 8 teams would be Utah, the Lakers, Houston versus the Clippers, Milwaukee versus Brooklyn, which with KD healthy would be amazing. You have Boston versus Philadelphia again, another matchup between these teams that always play each other fiercely. The return of Al Horford facing Boston in the second round would be awesome because it would either be Al Horford making it to the conference finals or it would be the Boston Celtics. Now, with the first matchup here, I actually, if you remember me saying a while back, I've said this on Twitter too, the Utah Jazz are my Western Conference Finals pick, and I'm not going against that. For this one, I'd have to pick the Utah Jazz in 7. I think it would be a very tough game, but I do like Rudy Gobert's defensive capabilities in the paint against LeBron James and Anthony Davis. Yes, he's going to need help. Yes, I believe he will get that help. But also Mike Conley is one of the scrappiest one of the perimeter defenders in the league. He's an amazing He's an amazing offensive player. I don't know who on the Lakers necessarily would guard Mike Conley and Donovan Mitchell. Defensively, you might want to put Kuzma on Mitchell, as weird as that is to say, but I think that's a good fit. Play Kuzma at the 3, have him guard Mitchell, play LeBron at the 1, have him guard whoever's power forward currently for the Jazz when he's in, and then have Anthony Davis go up one-on-one with Rudy Gobert offensively, and then have Dwight Howard defend Rudy Gobert defensively. I think it's a really good combination, but I still pick the Jazz to win this in 7. We have the Houston Rockets versus the LA Clippers. I'm presuming that Paul George is completely healthy. That being said, I think the Clippers would win this one in 5 against the Rockets. There might be some kind of meltdown with James Harden, but still, I think Paul George handles it quite well. I think Kawhi Leonard handles it well. Kawhi Leonard is the reigning NBA champion. And also, I think the secret sneaky key here is going to be Clint Capella versus Montrezl Harrell. I think that's going to be a good matchup and fun to watch. Then you have Milwaukee Bucks at Brooklyn Nets. As much as I like Kyrie Irving, if you saw how he played last year against Milwaukee, I don't think it's going to be too much better this year. The difference is going to be his supporting cast, and I don't necessarily see right now the Nets being the more talented team than the Celtics were last year. I definitely think they'll play better, so I think Milwaukee will win, but I think it'll take them 6 games this time around. And I think the Nets have a lot of promise going in the next season. I really do. I'm not saying this season's a wasted year. They definitely can make it far. It just depends on how much those role players can improve, how much Allen and Dinwiddie can improve, how much LeVert can improve, and how they end up distributing the ball. What obviously their game plan is, because LeVert, Dinwiddie, and Kyrie, and I love Dinwiddie. Dinwiddie's not the greatest, but he's good. If they can figure out how to share the ball enough, this team could be very dangerous. Then you have the Celtics at the 76ers. As much as I love the Celtics and I love Kemba Walker, I think this one would go down to whoever shot the 3 better. And honestly, I'm picking the Celtics in the upset. I think they'd win in 7 games, which would pit the Jazz versus the Clippers and the Bucks versus the Celtics. And I would honestly, that one, pick the Jazz, like I said, in 6 over the Clippers. And I would pick the Bucks over the Celtics in 6 as well, pitting the Utah Jazz versus the Milwaukee Bucks. And in this situation, I think Rudy Gobert can defend Giannis in the paint well enough. I know Gobert has struggled against Giannis previously. I know he has been owned by Giannis Antetokounmpo previously. I think he'll still get better. I think he has more help now. If you have Mike Conley chipping Giannis on the outside, because Conley can guard fives if they stay out too far. He's a good enough defender as well. And I think the Jazz pose enough threat offensively to outscore Milwaukee, because Milwaukee last year, although they made it far, fell into a lot of slumps. Like, especially against the Celtics, they may have won, but a lot of the time they'd win close games because they'd be down in the first quarter or down in the second quarter after a slump, but the Celtics would go so long without scoring and the Milwaukee Bucks would come back. I don't know if you can do that against the Jazz. I think this would be a great NBA Finals, and I'm picking the Jazz to win this one in 7. So that's how I think the NBA season's going to go. I'm not picking awards yet. I'm going to wait until the season's about to start. So probably a couple days before the season starts, I'll do a short video for the awards. I hope you guys have a good day. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.